I was in the Winter Gardens in Sheffield recently, and I found these postcards. The museums and libraries in Sheffield are doing a project called Stories from the Pandemic, where they're collecting people's experiences and stories from the COVID-19 pandemic. So I figured I'd fill one in. Several ideas on the front of it. Small thing that made a big difference, something I'm thankful for, something I've learnt, a significant moment, and during the pandemic I lost. So there is another side to it. Here it is. We're gathering experiences to celebrate small acts of kindness, support positive change, and remember those we have lost. Please share your response in the space below. Now, I don't know exactly what kind of stories they're looking for, so I'd be very interested to see the end result of this project. But I thought this one that says, during the pandemic I lost, was quite relevant to me. So I'm going to write, during the pandemic I lost access to my doctor and my therapist, and I've been ill ever since. Because many years ago I was diagnosed with an incurable disease, and I subsequently went on to develop other illnesses as a result of stress from that first one. Never really managed to fix them. I've had a lot of help from doctors and therapists. Well, my therapist, I went to see a specialist therapist a few years ago, and she packed it in as soon as the pandemic started, as did most. She never reopened. A lot of other therapists did eventually reopen, but they were incredibly slow to reopen. And then in 2021, my doctor, who'd been very good to me for the last few years, he decided that he didn't want me as a patient anymore and forced me to come off my tablets. So I suffered several months worth of withdrawal effects, followed by quite a lot of ill health last year, and I was particularly unwell during the winter. I've not been doing too bad this last few weeks, but I've been very tired this last few days. So I'm just going to write on here, during the pandemic I lost access to my doctor and therapist, and have been ill ever since. Now, I don't know if that's the kind of story they want, but it's a very realistic story. I don't think that would have happened had the pandemic, or so-called pandemic, had not happened. But I'm doubtful they actually want this story. The reason I'm interested to see what stories people submit is because I'm doubtful anyone would want to hear a story like this. They would probably want someone to say, oh, I couldn't see my doctor, but they're all heroes because they must have been out saving the lives of others. Things like that, where people might have suffered at the hands of these services, but they still call them heroes anyway. Well, I don't. I think they're an absolutely appalling profession, especially when they treat people like the way I've been treated, and like many other people have been treated. Plenty of people have been denied healthcare. And of course we've had the government itself wanting rid of a lot of healthcare staff, so healthcare has no real hope of ever getting any better in this country. If they're going to sack hundreds of thousands of staff, it's not going to get any better. They did manage to stop the jab mandates, but who knows what will happen in future. Let's just sign it. There we go, Mr. S. Coates, and I will get a stamp. It's only going to Sheffield, so second class will do. So yeah, I'm going to go and post this later on today. If you do get one of these postcards, if anyone watching this is in the area, I suggest you get one of these postcards and send it in, and do keep an eye on the project to see what stories people do actually send in.